love cats? Do you want to integrate your love of cats with your love of board games? Well, then, I Love Cats might be the right game for you. We're going to take a look at how to play the game, the setup, and the components, and what's going on with this game, and then we'll come back at the end and talk about my feelings related to that game, and maybe even cats. I've gone ahead and set up the game like 3 people are playing, but we're only going to take a look at 1 player board because it does take up quite a bit of room. So you'll see that we have a player board that is a ship. We have a permanent basket to the top left of that with the first player marker next to that. And then up above we have our island, and on the island we have the purple player, which is the first player, and then the green player and the orange player set up here. And then below that we have Vesh's boat, which is the black boat with the red hand on it, set on day 5. So this game is played over 5 days or rounds. You can see here the 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. We move Vesh's boat at the end of each day, and once we get to that black hand at the end of the round tracker, then the game is over and you count up final points. We do have our common treasures here, and you put those out, and then we do have some rare treasures. Those came out when we drew the cats out of the bag that are in the left field and the right field. You put twice as many polyomino cat pieces in each field as there are players, so in this case you would pull out 6. Then we have our Oshex tiles down here, laid out nicely, and we have up at the top our fish tokens and our colored cat tokens. Since this is upgraded, the fish tokens do have a 3, but they are a 5, even though they look like 3, they are 5, and then the single fish pieces. And then we have our cards that have been shuffled. The cards are at the heart of this game because there's a drafting element. So let's take a look at some cards. These ones are backed, but I'll take one out of the sleeve so you can take a look at it. So on the back of the cards, you're going to want the cards that have this blue back for them because we're not playing the solo game. Then everybody's also going to get one of the permanent baskets. I've placed one of those at the top left of this player board to show you, but there's a stack of these permanent baskets that's for everyone. Those are important for rescuing the cats throughout the game. In order for you to rescue a cat, you're always going to need 1 complete basket, either on a card or on one of these permanent baskets, or you can take 2 partial baskets, and together they count as 1. And then we have our bag of tiles here. That's where you get your tiles for the left field and the right field next to the island. Let's take a look at individual player setup more closely. Here's our player board. You're also going to get 7 cards after you get your 20 fish. That's going to happen every time because there's a drafting element where you take 2, pass 2, take 2, pass 2 until you're left with 1 that's just given to you. You have a reminder of final scoring with families of cats being 3 or more families. Those are very valuable. And then you also have a day overview that shows you how to do each day. I also love the cat meeples in this game, so we'll go ahead and take a look at those and then place them out on the island again where they go. You do just take these randomly to start the game as far as turn order, but here they are. I like the fact that they're not only cut out but painted. Then you place them up here in turn order. I made it so the purple player is first, then green, then orange. Just as a reminder that to the left of the island, this is the left field, and to the right of the island is the right field. Again, you take twice the number of polyominoes from the bag as there are players, so in this case 6 for each side. If you happen to draw any rare treasures, those don't count for those numbers. Those are the gold treasures, and you place your 6 out on each side. Ones on the left side count for 3 fish when you pay for them, and ones on the right side are 5 fish. Another thing to be aware of on your personal player board is these different rooms. Each room has a different icon for it, and you can see those spread throughout. There's also the edge of the board which has the white border all the way around it. That is where you're going to be placing. There's rows and columns and rats. Be aware of all those things. That's all shown in the rule book. Also, there's this large room in the middle that doesn't have an icon. It goes around and has these hallways around the edge. We'll go ahead and take a look at that in the rule book just so you know where that's at. So you can see all those rooms there. Also be aware of what rows and columns are. Rows are any spaces on your board from left to right that go all the way across. So there are some large rows, and columns go top to bottom or bottom to top like this. Again, see that white outline on the edge of the boat. Be aware of that. Some cards might reference that. And the rats are on the board. Be aware of those rats. They're going to be negative 1 point at the end of the game for every rat that's uncovered, but really they're not that big of a deal. So you can cover them up with cats like that. Once you start your cats, every other cat has to go next to that. Next to it is like this. So the pieces are touching like that. Diagonal does not count as touching. You can ignore all the walls and things like that when you place your cats, because cats are just spreading out and taking up space on your boat. That's what's represented by this game. One thing I do want to point out is up in the top right corner in the overview of each day, there's a little red cat. Make sure you use that side of the board for the multiplayer game and the other side of the board for the solo game. But when you get a cat, remember that you can flip it, turn it, use it however you want. Let's take a look at one here, because it's, again, just a measure of how much room that cat is taking up on the board space. So they are double-sided. You can put your cat down here, figure out how you want it to go, as long as it's legal. If you haven't placed a cat yet, then find the place that you want it to go, put it down, and after you've put it down, maybe cover up some rats, whatever. Like I'm going to do here, I covered up a rat, and then I'm going to take another one, and oh, I can't let them overlap, but as long as it's next to it, not diagonal, I can place it like that. And that's a legal placement of cats. I also want to point out these treasure maps that are on the board. Here's a blue one. We're going to pretend that this cat here is a blue cat, because if you cover a treasure map with the same color cat, then you immediately get to take a common treasure. Common treasures are red, rare treasures are gold. But let's say this cat was blue and he covered up the blue treasure map, then I would get to take this common treasure and fill up some additional spaces. Common treasures are great for doing that, filling up particular spaces, especially the little single ones that will fill in those single squares. So be aware of that as you fill up your board. Part of the tightness in this game not only comes from the spaces on your board, but also from the cards, the fish, and the basket that you have. Because you're going to have a limited number of baskets throughout the game to get the cats. You also have to spin the fish to get the cats from the left side of the field or the right side of the field, 3 on the left, 5 on the right. You have to pay for those cards that you have, and you have to be aware of all those resources and those things that are going on as you fill up your board throughout the game. So the first playthrough is going to have a lot going on. So everybody starts the game with 20 fish, and I've already set those out here, but that's the first phase, is fishing. You're going to have that every day. Get 20 fish, and then phase 2 is explore. We're going to select the discoveries that you want, that's your cards, and then accessing those discoveries where you will choose and pay for any selected cards you wish to keep. So let's go ahead and take a look at some of those cards. And on the cards, when you decide which ones you keep, so you take 2, pass 2, take 2, pass 2, until you've given your last card and you have your 7 cards. The cards have a cost in the top left corner. So let's see here. Okay, here's one. So this is a use anytime card, and in the top left corner there's a cost of 2. I might want to keep that. And here's one that has a basket on it. I might want to keep that, so I'd set those to the side, pass, and then we would all do that until we would have our 7 cards. So on the first, third, and fifth days you pass to your left. On the other days you pass to your right, and so forth. But you're going to keep those 2 like we talked about, keep 2 more, have the 7 cards. Once you have all 7 cards, then you pay those costs that we talked about. Remember, in the last one, you only get that 1 card that's given to you. You don't have any choice about it. So after you've done that drafting mechanic, you're going to take a look at the cards in your hand. So let's go ahead and take a look at those cards again and decide what we want to do with them and how we're going to pay for them. So I'm going to take a look at my cards. I already know the 2 that I want to keep, so I pay the cost, like I said, in this top left corner. And this one is discarding 2 played lessons. Lessons are a light blue border. This is a play anytime card, but I pay for the cards and get any change that I need. Discard any 2 played lessons and gain 1 permanent basket. 1 permanent basket is up here. I paid my 2 money for it, and I can get that basket at any time. That's just going to let me help save more cats to go on my boat. And then any cards I don't want are going to go in the discard pile, so I don't want those ones. They're going to go over there. Let's go ahead and take a look at a lesson card, because they're important for getting additional points through the game. This one is hard to get because you have to fill up your entire boat, but it would give you an additional 25 points. You're probably going to win the game if you do this, because you're going to have lots of families of cats. You're going to have these lessons cards with the light blue, and 25 points is a lot of points in this game. So that's a great one. We'll keep it out here in front of us after we paid the cost for it. And if it's public, everyone can see it, and that would say that in the bottom left-hand corner, and you have to announce that. The private ones go face down in front of you when you play those. But if it's a public one, it would remain face up like this so that everybody can see that card. After you've read any of those lesson cards, including the public lesson cards, out in front of everybody, and then place the private lesson cards, you're going to get green cards. Green cards are played now to rescue cats. So on this green card, we have two things going on. We have a partial basket, and then we have the boots, which show our speed. So let's take a look at those. The partial basket there. And then I have 3 boots. You can ignore the color of the cat. That doesn't matter. That's just for flavor. Every full basket is going to allow me to save a cat, but I can also play a card just for the speed. So maybe I want to play this for the speed. I place it face down in front of me. Everybody does that with all their cards. So we place those cards out, and then we flip them up all at the same time to determine speed. That will also determine our new starting order. So whoever has the most boots for speed is going to be at the top of the starting order. You place those out. They're going to be discarded at the end of this. But everybody's going to be able to save at least one cat, even if you're at the end, because you have that permanent basket. So in turn order based on speed now, you might have to reset that on the island, and then make sure you're paying attention to the turn order up there, not based on where you're sitting at the table. So maybe we did this so that orange became first, purple is second now, and green is third. So orange would get to select one of the cats, either from the right field or the left field, that they think that would fit best on their board. So they would pay the cost. If it's on the left, they have to pay 3 fish. If it's on the right, they have to pay 5 fish. And they would take the cat that they think would help them the most and place that on their board. So before it's your turn, make sure you're thinking about which one you want, because you don't want to waste time thinking about it. Try to visualize it going on your board. But you're going to pick the one you want from the left field or the right field. You only get one, and you're going to pay the cost. On the left side, you pay for 3. On the right side, you pay 5. So maybe as you think about families and rooms and all that, you see the green cat over here on the left side, and you're like, that is the fish that I want. I really want that fish. So I'm going to pay my 3 cost. I don't want to pay 5 cost. I'm going to take this green cat on the left so that maybe I can get the treasures I need and fill out my board. So I pay my 3 cost, not the 5. 5's on the right side. Pay the 3 cost to the fish bank, and then I will get my... Let's actually take a look at those fish meeples, because they're fun too. Part of what makes this game enjoyable. Here's one. Remember that even though there's only 3 fish on there, this is a 5. And there's my permanent basket so that I can have a place for my cat to be caught. I'm going to flip that over from the permanent basket green side to the gray side. That goes back to the green side at the end of each day when we refresh. But right now it's getting flipped to that side because I'm using it. I paid my fish cost, and then I get to take my cat and put it on my board. After the rescue cats phase, we have the rare finds phase. In this phase, you're going to play as many rare treasure card or Oshex cards as you can, taking turns to play one at a time. Treasure cards look like this with a yellow background, and Oshex cards look like this with a brown background. Let's go ahead and take a look at one of those treasure cards. Here's one that says take any rare treasure, that's the one with the gold on the back, or take any 2 common treasure. Let's go ahead and focus back on the treasure so we can see those. But the common treasure are these 1, 2, 3, and 3 flat ones that you can fit anywhere on your board. They're very useful, actually. Let's say we had played one of those brown Oshex cards, though. The Oshex cards provides an additional benefit besides being a limited piece. When you place the Oshex, you fit it in where you can next to your other cats, but you're also going to take one of the colors on the board. Let's say I wanted this to be a green Oshex. I would place that on there, and now that Oshex is part of the green family, and so you could grow a larger green family. Or it would also count as a solitary cat if you needed it for one of those. So it can only be part of one family, but you do place it out there, and it's very useful. After everyone has played all of their rare treasure cards or their Oshex cards, you get ready for the refish phase, where you're going to take the cats. So let's zoom out here. Take the cats that are left over, either in the left field or the right field, and they go out of the game completely. They're going to be permanently taken out of the game. They don't go back in the bag. They go back in the box, where they can no longer be part of the game.
you are also going to take your permanent basket and flip that over to the green side so that you can use it again the next day. And you're going to move Vesh's boat to the next day. So we start at day 5 and then we go to day 4. So after you've gone ahead and advanced Vesh's marker, that's going to happen at the end of every day until you get to that black hand. Then you look and see if there's anything else you want to play. You might have an anytime card that you might want to play now that might help you out in the next round. You do have your one permanent basket that you can flip over, and you have a reminder of the scoring at the end of the game here. So rats that are not covered are going to be 1 negative point, and rooms that are not finished are going to be negative 5 points. But maybe you have a permanent card that you want to play now. That would be a good time to play that card. This one says discard any 2 lesson cards. Let's get that in focus. Any 2 lesson cards that have been played to gain 1 permanent basket. That might be a way to really help you finish out the game well. And if you haven't, well, that's Isle of Cats. I hope that you enjoyed the game both in theme and gameplay.
Here's what I'm thinking about this game. It's fantastic. I mean, there are so many great things about it. The artwork has been thought out. The stupid details like the inside of the box, having, if you're into silly social media things, having a cat set up, your cat can sit in here if you're into cats. The pieces look gorgeous. I do wish the cards were a different type of finish, but that's a minor quibble. I think that it has tons of replayability. There's a solo mode, there's a family mode, there's just a lot going on with this game. I can see why so many people have fallen in love with the Isle of Cats. I need to play it more, personally, but there is a lot of good in this box, especially for the price point that you're getting. You're just getting so much in here. The fact that it has that polyomino thing going alongside the drafting card mechanic. It's all working well together. 2 minor squibbles with it. 2 minor things that I might say is, one, if you don't have a house rule, I don't think this is in the rules, but if you don't have a house rule about, like, once you touch the cat, you have to use the cat, and you have to go ahead and do that on your turn, no put backsies. I would do something like that. Otherwise, this game would be longer than it needs to be. The other thing is, with so many options, that might be overwhelming with a few people, for a few people, based on how the game looks and kind of what's going on with it. But for me, I don't think that's a drawback. But there's just so much in this box. It is a heavy box. There's tons of expansions that go with it. If you were lucky enough to pick up on the Kickstarter one, there's tons of here. This one does happen to have all the Kickstarter expansions with it, borrowing from a friend here. So there's lots good in this box. I think this is what people wanted with a lot of Kickstarter things, and that's why it has taken off in such a big way. Isle of Cats, would I recommend it? Absolutely. Do I need to own it? No. Because I probably wouldn't play it that often. I do like polyomino games, like Uwe Rosenberg's stuff, most famously for him, both Patchwork and Feast for Odin. And I like Barenpark. I think that's a great game. I think that games like that can have a lot of fun built into them, and this one does something different than those 3 that I just mentioned. So it's a good game, worth checking out. I would recommend it if you've been interested in it and looking into it. I think that this will meet your requirements for a fun, medium weight game that has both those drafting and the polyomino elements in it. Isle of Cats by Frank West. Hope you like it. Subscribe or check out another video, and we'll catch you later. Thanks.